So everybody, hello. And it is really an honor to be here and to present to you. And what I'll try to show you is the combination when we are in 2.5 years of war and how we proceed in basically managing a hospital during these times and what are the challenges. And I'll focus especially on the period now when it comes to the war, when I'm talking about the current situation with missiles flying over us. So at Hadassah, we're able in Hadassah in Kerem to treat more than 1,000 patients in underground protected facilities, and in Mount Scopus, 820 patients. This was thanks to an infrastructure that we've put in place many years ago. About 25 years ago, when we built the new building at In Kerem, we decided to put in place operating rooms at -4. So basically burying the operating rooms, part of our operating rooms, out of our 24 operating rooms, 13 were buried 4 floors underground in a protected area, and they're being used on a day-to-day basis. So it was pretty easy to continue to function in these operating rooms, basically moving in operation mode, where instead of working in 2 shifts, we went over to work in 3 shifts. So there was also a night shift that continued. And this allowed us basically to continue to provide health care to our patients. Now, this is just one example. But when you have missiles firing over you, what are the issues that you need to be aware of? You need to be aware of that first and foremost, you need to keep the safety of your patients and the safety of your staff. And it is extremely important to try and have a modus operandi so you can move very fast into areas that are relatively protected. And if you decide to keep patients on a regular floor, to know where are the areas that are protected that they can use in order to allow you to use also areas that are not sheltered. It is extremely important to adopt your operations in a way that you can increase the level of medical care that you can provide to the population. And I should say that we learned this during COVID, and we implemented it during these past 2.5 years. It is critical not to interrupt healthcare services while there's an active war. It is important to proceed and provide the services all the time as much as possible. And obviously we need to mobilize resources in order to do that and ensure the resilience of the patients, but also the people that work in the hospital. They usually move into areas that are underground, that are crowded, parking spaces. These are spaces that are not made on a usual basis to treat patients, and you need really to try to accommodate them and the patients to have an area that is reasonably fair for them to stay. One of the issues that is extremely important, and this is the fact that you need to be aware that you need to control infections. And infection control are a critical issue because I don't know if all of you know, but hospital-acquired infections are a major concern of us today. And in fact, one of the things that we were most focused on during this period is to prevent the spread of resistant bugs between our patients during these moves from one place to the other, and especially when they are in crowded spaces. And I'm very proud by being able to communicate it constantly to our nurses, to our physicians, to our workers, to the patients, and keeping very strict control and having actually infectious control people adequately and all the time involved in each move and each procedure that has been done. We are able to control that, and if this is an issue that I can share with anyone in the world, I would share it with him. I think that also what is extremely important, and here I'm leaving the war, is to understand 2.5 years ago that this won't be a short time and that we need to focus on continuing growth and to look at innovation. And I will allow myself now to divert from the war to the innovation part that we're taking. So Hadassah is a university hospital. We own 50%, the Hadassah Medical Organization, and our mother organization in the US, the Hadassah Women Zionist Organization of America, owns also 50% of the Hadassah Hebrew University School of Medicine, and we're proud partners of the Hebrew University in that. And for this reason, we see our goal as having 3 pods. One is to be as best in clinical services we can provide to the population, but at the same time focus on research and innovation, and also teaching and education. And I'll focus here especially on the issue of innovation, obviously. So we're very proud about our involvement in robotics, and we have a very strong robotic collaboration with Medtronic in developing their robot, which is the Hugo, and actually the first surgical intervention with the Hugo that was sent televised over the entire universe, showing the use of the Hugo in general surgery, was done from Hadassah about 1.5 years ago. So we're very much involved in robotics. We definitely believe that robotics are the future, and we have a very strong group of people working on the robotics in different areas in the hospital. We have also a very close relationship with GE. I'm very proud to say that we are one of the only hospital in Israel, actually, that has a cyclotron. We are producing about 60% of the isotopes in Israel are being produced at Hadassah. And what we are especially focusing today is on theranostics, which are the new types of isotopes, which are basically done not only to diagnose the cancer, but also to kill the cancer cells by directing the isotopes directly in order to kill the cancer cell. And this is working together in collaboration with GE, who's producing PET-CT devices, etc. And the final example for international collaboration is our collaboration with Roche Pharmaceuticals. And this is thanks to our ability to work in AI and in cancer. And in cancer, we basically have 3 areas that I would say we are leaders, and we're very proud about that. And actually, I'm coming back now from a meeting in Berlin, where we actually created a collaboration with a leading hospital in Germany relating into this area of research. So we have a very strong group of immunotherapy for cancer, led by Michal Lotem and her team. We have a very strong group that is working on stem cells, and this is Benny Roginov and many other people in our organization, including our ability to bring to the market already some treatments that are being used as phase 2 and phase 3 studies in the United States, for example, for macular degeneration, and also multiple sclerosis. And finally, we are very proud to have a very strong group on CAR-T. When we talk about CAR-T, so we have a treatment for multiple myeloma that is being now tested in the United States. We have a new construct for multiple myeloma that is being launched now. And we are now marching into the future, which is the treatment of CAR-T in the treatment of autoimmune diseases. And one of the examples is scleroderma, where we started providing treatment to patients. I'm also very proud that we were able to collaborate with an Israeli company called PCure in developing a proton therapy device. We have full FDA approval for this device, and we are currently starting treatments here in Israel, but also abroad with this device. And this is really an innovation because it takes a proton therapy device that costs a lot of millions of dollars and is very large and very expensive to put in place, and is cutting the cost of using proton therapy by about a third of what it costs until now. So it's basically bringing proton therapy to be a device that can be used by every hospital, or at least a group of hospitals, and not to have one proton therapy device in a country. So proton therapy will become much more available using these devices, which are much smaller and much more efficient. And speaking of Roche, so the collaboration with Roche is based on our ability to use artificial intelligence and to put all our data in a data lake, and using AI to be able to correlate between different areas of information on the patient, which are related to their imaging, to the genetics, obviously, which is the most important, but also the clinical data from the medical record, etc. And this earned us a collaboration, being one of 4 hospitals working with Roche Pharmaceuticals in developing new and diagnostic tools for cancer in the genetic constructs of cancers and the malformations that are associated with it, or mutations, actually. We are also having collaboration with international companies related to protein structures, and I'm a big believer that the future is not only in DNA, It is today in RNA and is in protein structures. And this is where the future of personalized medicine is going. And there's no question that Israel and Hadassah should be in this field and be part of this field. And finally, organoids. We have the largest organoid center in Israel. Organoids, for those who don't know that, are small organs that are being grown in petri dishes and basically can be used in order to learn a disease, or study interventions. For example, cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a disease that the specific treatments, the personalized medications that are used for it are extremely expensive. But if you don't know what is the genetic cause for CF, and there can be several, you don't know which drug to use. And what we're doing today is we're taking samples from CF patients, we're growing them in a petri dish into an organelle, and we can test the different medications. And this is service today provided to all healthcare management organizations in Israel for them to know for CF patients which is the best drug that should be used. And this is now being grown up to other areas. I'm saying very proudly that in this regard we are now actually have a delegation in the US where we are teaching a large medical center in the US how to use organoids and what can be done with organoids. And someone mentioned here prosthetics. So we are also into 3D printing, and actually they're part of your group that you just mentioned. And I'm very proud showing this because this is 3D printing of a soldier that was lost and had basically a completely ruptured knee. And what we are able to do is using 3D printing, we were able to using the sample of the other knee to reprint the parts that were missing. And this is why this guy is walking now. And I learned yesterday actually that he was even bungee jumping after this surgery. So it's not bad for someone who would have limped for an entire life. Obviously, as everybody, we have an innovation company that is helping us to promote our patents and our activity. And we have also a Hadassah accelerator, which I'm very proud of, and I'm inviting you, if you have a startup company, to us and to join us. We are proud to provide services to startup companies, providing the ability to get seed money. And as you see, we were able to bring a few companies to the point that we're able basically to expand and proceed with their projects thanks to this accelerator. We opened during the past 2.5 years the largest rehabilitation center currently in Israel. We're very proud about that, and there also there's research that is ongoing. The Round Building, we have a clinic in Bet Shemesh, in Netivot, and obviously as a good organization we're also looking at the future, and this is the planning for the future of the NKRM campus. This is the future of our Mount Scopus campus, and we truly believe that we need to be a hospital here in Jerusalem, but we need all the time, when it comes to research and development, look at the world and be at the forefront of research in the world, and that's what we'll try to do. Thank you very much.